So when you look at this national security law, how far-reaching it is, the fact that people who are protesting could be charged with things like terrorism, and now you see the extreme shutdown of this newspaper with police raiding it. What is the remaining avenue for dissent in Hong Kong, if there is one?
Well, for 23 years since Hong Kong's handover in 1997, Hong Kong has been rated the freest economy in the world by the Heritage Foundation based in Washington, D.C. It is no small feat that Hong Kong, under the sovereignty of mainland China, under the Chinese Communist Party, has been able to earn this accolade for 23 years consecutively. However, during this period, one jigsaw is missing because under Hong Kong's constitution, there is a safeguard for national security, which is called Article 23 in Hong Kong's basic law, Hong Kong's mini constitution. But Hong Kong has been unable to enact it because of anti-government, anti-Beijing protests. And then Hong Kong had been under British rule, and in fact had been under the Western education for so long. So there's a generation, several generations of young people who have very little sense of national nationhood, and they regard themselves as Hong Kongers. Most of them are anti-Beijing. And now the Apple Daily was founded 2 years before the handover by Jimmy Lai. And there are reports of various outside funding as well. And Jimmy has made him the lifetime mission to overthrow the Chinese Communist Party. And so the Apple Daily has had a field day for all these years. It's in fact the standard bearer of anti-Beijing journalism. However, since the enactment of the national security law, all these acts of verging on subversion cannot be allowed, particularly in view of Jimmy Lai's personal involvement. And in fact, he was on the front line of these anti-government riotous protests, including the throwing of petrol bombs, storming of the legislature, and so on and so forth. And as I said, there are various funding sources outside Hong Kong to support his activities. Now, the story will not be complete without looking at his main chief lieutenant, Mark Simon, who was interviewed recently by the foreign press, pointing to the likelihood of the closure of the Apple Daily. Now, Mark Simon was known to be a former CIA operative, and his father was a longtime CIA worker as well. And particularly, Mark Simon was the chairman of the Republican Party in Hong Kong. And of course, there was a lot of pushback against Beijing. And also, Mark Simon is connected with Taiwan as well. So you can put all the jigsaw puzzles together and to get a firmer grasp of the narrative.
Thank you. And you know, just quickly, when you speak of the free economy that was able to flourish there, what does the current state of affairs mean for all the multinational companies that found a fertile ground there?
Well, as I said, for 23 years, the Apple Daily was almost left untouched. And there was every day there was an anti-Beijing, anti-Communist Party ritual. And so freedom, of course, includes the freedom of the press. And Hong Kong has been, also there is an independent judiciary. So Hong Kong's rule of law is highly acclaimed. And that's why a lot of multinationals have chosen Hong Kong as their base. Now, with the enactment of the national security law, this underlines the reality that you can't use press freedom to threaten the national security, because Beijing was pushed to a corner. Because for 23 years, Beijing has held back until this past 2 years of riotous protests, holding the Hong Kong's law and order to ransom. As I said, including thrashing of the emblem of the Chinese central government in Hong Kong, and also doxing police officers, and setting even someone who disagrees with them on fire. So I think that the Beijing thought that it has had enough. It has enacted this missing loophole in Hong Kong's constitution, which was supposed to be enacted in Hong Kong, but since Hong Kong refused to enact it, it was imposed by Beijing in the form of the national security law.
Andrew Leung, we appreciate your expertise. Thank you.